Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today's build and play guide is on Azuma. Alright, now I think I'm going to have a little bit different take on the ship than most people. I'm not sure. Let's get into it, though. Uh, there is two ways to build this ship, HE and AP. Yes, I said HE. We'll talk about that in a second. I know a lot of people think this is an AP only build, but we're going to discuss why that isn't the case. Um, I like Yamamoto because I like to use both ammo types. I lean into the AP, so this is a build I'm using. If you're going to lean into the HE, probably build into range so you can kite away a little bit with it, if that's your play style. Um, if you're very good with shooting AP normally, or that's something you like doing, then 100% build into the AP and lean into the AP a little bit more. So, for our build, we're using Arthas the Cold because you do have fighter catapult planes, and having that extra damage if you're using AP shells when you know you got a good salvo off, it's super handy. Otherwise, you could use any cruiser perk. Macao would be actually interesting on this build. And then, as always, Mbelly. So, obviously, base trade is right through. Beyond range, igniter, punch through, fixated. Now, if I was only building for Azuma, I would probably take fully packed. Although the refill station is nice too. But because I use this on my AP type cruisers, I leave it on refill station. So, for your upgrades, we're taking Aiming Systems Mod 1. There is an argument to be had. If you're building into the HE, you should take the turret traverse. This thing is pretty accurate as it is. And then also, as you can see here, prop mod, concealment, and a main battery reload. Now, it does hurt your traverse speed. This is a Japanese cruiser, heavy cruiser, so it does not have the world's best turret traverse. In fact, it's pretty poor. But let's get into the consumables. If you take fully packed, you would get 3, 4, and 4, just so you know. Sonars, respectable sonars. Catapult fighters, as you know. You could put defensive AE here, and honestly, if you're going to be kiting away in this ship, not a terrible option, actually. If that's going to be your playstyle. Not mine, but that's if that is. Also, has 3 decent heals. Not amazing, but what is really good about these heals, if you take fully packed, you have 4 of them. But also, if you notice, they come back very quickly in only 40 seconds. And that is super, super handy. All right. For your specs, survivability, 52,000 health. It does have, I think it's like the most or close to the most health for a cruiser at tier 7. And also, your torpedo reduction isn't bad, but you don't want to eat torpedoes. But because of the length of this ship, you're inevitably going to be eating torpedoes once in a while. And it's got a pretty bad turning circle. All right, so this is the interesting part here. The guns. And this is the very big, strong suit of this ship. Now, I'm not saying this is a high TPM monster. What I'm saying is the guns are very good on this ship. And I'll show you both versions of why they're good, right? So HE, for example, it's Japanese HE, so you have a ton of shell damage, right? Now you don't get the quarter HE pen on this. It is the 1/6 HE pen, but the reason that doesn't matter is these are 12.2-inch guns, meaning they already are the HE already pens 52 millimeters, meaning you don't have to worry about it. It's gonna pen everything, but basically a armor belt. So that's you have a really good fire chance. You have a very good HE shell damage, and because of the gun size, it pens a lot of stuff. Meaning, if you want to lean into the HE on this ship, I could completely agree with it and see it, and it will do very well. And I don't think probably most people are going to recognize this about this ship. I think most people are just going to yell, use your AP, which is also a very good option as well. You could build this both ways, guys. I lean into the AP because if you know where to shoot with AP, it can be highly effective in the ship. Again, the AP is pretty strong, and also you do get, if you can see the AP, you do get the extra AP penetration like the Americans. So again, you have very good, amazing options with your ammo types here. And my personal thing is to shoot both types. I'm going to insert a clip here. You can see me shooting at a battleship, the Collinwood, and you can see what it does here. As you can see, we have a broadside battleship, and you can aim at the belt line if they are flat broadside to you and absolutely citadel the crap out of them. Now, you can see 30,000 damage on each one of these salvos. The second one's only use my front guns as well. So you can see the AP can be really effective on broadside battleships. Now, that being said, though, you want to be careful chasing citadels, okay? Because you're going to think you can citadel every battleship, and you can if they give you the right broadside. But if they angle a little bit or they're out at distance, you're going to probably do some shatters and bounces, and your guns aren't going to be as effective as you want. So if you're going to go after a belt line on a battleship, make sure you know you can citadel it. Otherwise, you're going to be wasting your shot. And it can be very easy to chase citadels in this. That being said, the AA is pretty respectable, especially for a Japanese heavy cruiser. You know, half of your AA is close in, so it kind of takes away from it a little bit. I have been focused with this on carriers, and it does hold its own. Now, one of the downsides of this ship, one of them being you don't have torpedoes in a Japanese ship, you know, like a Japanese cruiser, so not the end of the world, but again, they would be kind of handy. Also is the maneuverability, okay? You got to be a little bit careful with this ship because the turning circle is huge, meaning two things. If you are spotted when this ship there's a battleship with AP loaded, it's going to be a quick back to port for you in this ship. This is a atrocious turning circle for the tier, and trust me, it feels even worse. And the other downside with that turning circle is you can and probably are going to eat a few torps in this thing. Concealment, pretty solid at 10.9 for as big as this ship is. This ship is obnoxiously long for a cruiser. So that detectability, you could go a concealment build, and I could totally see that as well, where you could drop your detectability probably down into the mid-9s if you wanted to. But for what it is, very good. Now, stats in this ship, as you guys can see, a few things I want you to take away from here. Main gun accuracy, 45%. These guns are great. They're accurate, and they generally don't lob very much. So, you know, they're going to be kind of rail guns for 12-inch guns, to be honest. Meaning also that you're going to overpen light cruisers a lot of times. So be careful with that. Honestly, when you're up against a light cruiser, most of the time I would actually probably just use HE. Okay, so outside of that, you can see I have pretty good win rate on it, and my XP average is relatively decent, meaning I've been shooting at a lot of destroyers. Also, my matches have been over very quickly this morning in this thing. I played all these games today. All of them were solid games outside of one where I thought I could be awesome and take a big hit. You got to be careful with that. I almost got Dev Strike, and it did end my match early. But anyway, you can see average damage to ship 90,000, pretty decent, especially when you consider how quick my matches have been getting over today. Potential damage. This is an interesting thing. This is a tanky ship and then a awful not tanky ship all at the same time. I'll explain when we get to the armor. But you can see I'm averaging 900,000 almost 900,000. So almost battleship potential damage against me. People are trying to kill me. And if you know what you're doing, it's hard to kill this ship. You know, if you get a big battleship knows what he's doing, he can kill you pretty quick. Also, you can see 28 aircraft shot down. So that was against a Chekhov, actually, that was focusing me. One of the a few times where I went up against the Chekhov and it didn't end atrociously for me. So I did die to him, but I lasted a while and took down a lot of his planes. Also, just so you know, the games have been very consistent with this thing. So, alright, so here is the armor, okay? Now, you see here you have a 27 millimeter bow and stern, right? Now, you do have this extended belt or icebreaker up the front. That is, I believe, 32 millimeters. It might be 30, actually. Let's pull it up here. Oh, it is 30. Okay, it is actually 32. Yeah. But I can assure you, do not think you can bow tank everything, okay? Your actual bow and stern is 27, meaning anything over 15-inch guns is going to go right through this thing. And you can see that's the armor on the outside, and that means everywhere, okay? And I'll show why that's a problem in a second. But just keep in mind, you get overmatched, like a lot of cruisers at the tier, honestly, by 16-inch guns. Anything over 15, but right now we don't have like 15.5-inch guns in the game. But the reason that's such a big problem is this right here, right? All right. If you're going against a ship with 15-inch guns or less, this thing is very tanky, as long as you don't give up a broadside, right? But this Citadel is huge, meaning when you get overmatched through the front, that's a huge target. If you get overmatched through the back, that's a huge target. Broadside, this ship is extremely long. This is a very big Citadel. Easy to hit if you give up a broadside, right? Also, another thing is from above, so American 16-inch guns, right, which you're going to be running across a lot in this ship, is going to absolutely wreck this thing. If you see, there's not a lot above the Citadel to the deck. So, for them American 16-inch shells that like to lob in and down, I can assure you they will absolutely wreck you. Ask me how I know. As we start the match, it's disclaimer time. This is a beginner's video meant to help people new to the ship or new to the game. This is not meant for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything in the universe. There are multiple ways to play and build this ship, and I am an above average player. Not the world's best. I make mistakes. You may see one in this match. You didn't come here for pronunciations. I'm as good as anybody at slaughtering beautiful languages all the time. With that out of the way, we're on Trident, and the spawns are very close on Trident, so you want to be careful. This match, I'm going to showcase the AP like I use it, but you're going to see some positive and negatives. You're going to see overpins on cruisers a little bit, especially light cruisers. But you're also going to see some good, decent damage and decent shots. HE, pretty easy to use in this ship. It pens pretty much everything, so you just point and aim and shoot. So I figured it'd be better to show the case of the AP. I might do an HE version of this down the road, so you guys can see that. But pretty easy to do an HE build on this. You just point and shoot. Now I recommend using both ammo types. And the reason why is you're going to see here on Pazarski, and you can see the overpins, but we're still going to do some damage to this guy, and he makes a mistake not going into, just stopping into his smoke. He's going to move forward, and also we're going to get another salvo up before he hides into his smoke. And sure enough, we whap him pretty good for 25,000 on 2 salvos. That is going to help finish him off. There's going to be a reoccurring theme here. Me and this Chappie are just going to destroy this enemy team. And he is a, if you're the Chappie watching, great game, man. He is eventually, I'm going to do a bunch of damage to everybody, and he's going to finish him off. And also use radars real well. As you can see, we shot at the destroyer when we could see him. Ochakov does finish him off. Like I said, going to be a reoccurring theme. You can see here, we're going to take a shot at Nagato. Try to back him away from coming at us. He does, you know, being a battleship, he could eliminate us real quick if he wants to. And we're going to keep pushing up here. Also, for those of you guys been around the channel, you guys recognized a destroyer on the other team. And so did I when I started. I knew that he probably was going to try to come get me with his destroyer. He knew he was probably going to at least try to kill me. Now we had the split here, and you'll notice real quickly I realized his East 31 is on in the center cap, meaning he was all the way at the A cap, right? So the destroyer that's going to come for me. Played with him a lot, so I know what he's going to do. He's going to try to target me. It's not a bad idea because I am a good player, but bailing on everything else to do that, not a great idea. That being said, we see the Z-31, so I do know where that guy is, that destroyer is. And honestly, we're going to go ahead and push up just in case we can get crossfires. So we're going to try to take a shot at Z-31 because it's a destroyer. We see a destroyer, we're going to shoot it, right? So we're going to go ahead and try to get rid of him and push up here. Now, again, for those of you guys wondering, by the way, about this being the best ship to get your global for, I love this ship a lot, but I know I'm biased, right? We have, you know, you can make an argument. Some of my strongest ships are the super cruisers, which this is. So like this, Azure, Alaska, which I, you know, have the world record in the Alaska B. That probably won't hold up forever, but still, have an XP and the damage record in it. Kind of handy to have, right? So I'm a little bit biased towards super cruisers. That being said, though, I think probably Suzuya, there's some good options in the global XP. I don't know that this is the best option for your global XP, but it is a very good one. Now we see the destroyer again, and we're going to go ahead and take a shot here right when we wait for him to make a turn. He makes his turn, he's committed to it, but he does end up eating a torp, so he is gone. Now normally I wouldn't chase kites, and really these aren't kiting, they're not kiting me, they're not even shooting at me, so I will keep taking shots here. But you can see we've had some overpins so far with our AP. When a battleship's angled at you and you have AP loaded, make sure you're aiming for like superstructure and stuff. If you aim at the beltline chasing citadels, it's gonna be rough, right? So again, you can see a lot of overpins with this ship and AP, but still pretty effective. Now Nagato is up there, or is angled to me, so we're going to shoot HE, and you're going to see we're going to start to get some full pens and some decent damage on him. We get unlucky. I think you can see he's getting fire spam, so we're not going to get a bunch of fires on him. Otherwise, we would have had a much better game. Also, every game I've been in this thing has been these matches today. I did all of them this morning. It ended very quickly. Also, I'm focusing at Nagato for two reasons. He is the biggest threat to me right now, because he could eliminate me really quick if he shot AP at me in a well-defined manner. So I am focused on him, and also I'm trying to let P-Big forget about me so I can get a good shot later on him. Also, I'm wary what's in front of me. You can see I'm going to go ahead here in a minute, use my sonar, because that destroyer at A that I know is going to try to probably target me. I activate my sonar. I assume he's coming this way because he bailed. His team was winning the A cap, but sure enough, there are the torpedoes. I almost read that like a book. I'm glad we turned back in when we did. But sadly for his team, he left the cap. They were winning that cap, and now obviously that's not going to go well for him when you destroyer bails on you. That being said, though, P-Bag forgot about me, and we get 7 overpins, but we do a significant amount of damage to him, right? So, as Nagato gets finished off by our Chappie, we clearly know the destroyer is here now. Our team is taking the A-cap from them guys, and we go ahead and finish off P-Bag. So, already out the gate having a decent game. And as you can see, there is the destroyer. I don't think he expected there to be a Chappie and a destroyer there, because they were probably sitting in the smoke. So kudos to Chappie. But you can see that destroyer went all the way across the map to try to get me. It's okay, it happens. So we're going to go ahead and turn back in. You can see 7 minutes into the match, we already had 100,000, which is decent, but more importantly, we've basically eliminated everybody over here, right? We have 5 assists and kills, meaning anybody that's came over here has just essentially died to me and Chappie. Again, kudos to Chappie, and well done to you, sir. Like I said, me and him had a pretty solid game in here. Also, right now, we know the match is over, so we're going to try to get to the carrier in the battleship. And like I said, this was the longest match I've had all day in this thing. So I can't wait to play this more and get some really crazy games out of it, because it will happen. Like, this fits. I do pretty well in ship with really good guns, and I'm never really concerned about armor. Normally, I'm pretty good with that. So this kind of fits that mold. But we're going to go ahead and push up. Now, you can see I turn in here, and that actually saves me from Constellation. Constellation, if you see one in this ship, you need to be worried. Why do you need to be worried? Well, they're 16-inch guns that overmatch you. And also, Constellation is super lobby, like a rest of the American shells. But it has the Mark 5 guns, which makes it even lobbier, right? Now we're going to take another shot at Constellation, and this is what I was talking about with the main guns, is we have our high caliber, by the way. There you go. We only hit 2 shells. I didn't aim correctly, but we do get a Citadel. In American, when you're shooting at American battleships and German battleships with this ship, AP is really good for the reason of you have superstructure that you can get with your AP, and also at distance, German battleships and American battleships are weak to citadels, especially from coming in at distance, at very big range. They could take a beating from that. So, as you can see, a match ends early like they all did, but maybe I'll try to get an HE Azuma match for you guys so you guys can see it as well. But we were number 1 on the leaderboard. Good game to Chappie. As you can see, most importantly, we helped our team win. You guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time, folks.